Welcome everybody to We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deaunte Damper. Now, before we begin today's episode, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to Converge Media. You'll learn more about our community events, blog posts, The Day with Trey, Back to Basic, Clapback Culture, you name it. Please go to whereweconverge.com to learn more. Our next guest. It has been an honor to grow up around her music and watch her breathe life into community. We grew up around jazz and rock, but the neo soul, the soul that she brought into this community is for the record books for us. She is a part of our community compass. Today, we will be interviewing Tiffany Wilson.
Hello, sir.
I am so happy to have you here. Growing up, I remember I grew up in the early 2000s, and there was nothing but neo soul, all around the radio. And I just remember you in Chocolate.
Yeah.
And it's an honor just to know that y'all were creating those spaces and those lanes here. How did Tiffany Wilson start her career out here? Well, how'd you grow up out here?
First, I want to say that Chocolate and I have the same middle name.
Really?
And that was really cool to find out, too, yes. I don't know if she wants everyone knowing, so I'm going to just let you know. We do. No. Okay. That's a good friend of mine. But I grew up, my family transplanted here from Memphis, Tennessee. And grew up, started right there at Sunflower Seed Apartments. What is that? Graham and Martin Luther King.
Okay.
So, right there, smack dab in the middle of it all. Sharp was where my sister went to, but I actually grew up further south. I went to high school at Decatur High School in Federal Way. And then as I became an adult, moved out on my own, is when I moved into the city, West Seattle, Capitol Hill. Those were my stomping grounds.
Did you find music? Because I feel like you were just born with it.
Sometimes I like to think that those who music won't let go, that music found them or chose them. So because at times I want to throw in the towel, but music will not let you. So you're going to it's always going to call you. But I started in church. I don't even want a different story. That's the story. I started in church. I used to go to New Covenant Christian Center. I actually even went to Casey Treats. A lot of my adult life, my young, 3rd through 9th grade, I was there. So I grew up in a house with music playing, going home all the time to Memphis. That's just what it was.
Did your mom or dad sing?
No, I have a cousin who finally, I have family who sings, but none that are pursuing music. So I have a younger cousin. Him and I are the only ones in the family pursuing music and living that life.
And throughout your journey, after high school, how was it kind of navigating? Because, during the era I was just talking about, there was just this surgence of, neo soul. And, Seattle we're the home of Kenny G.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Kenny G. Kenny G and Nirvana and all of that. So what was that like, navigating community into, hey, here we are?
I feel my life was it feels a little enchanted. I didn't have to look hard. I guess opportunities fell in my lap from people who had just heard. So right out of high school, I started to tour with a gospel group here called Soul. Soul had Crystal Aiken, Nehemiah Booker, Trinice Thomas, Aminta Davis. A lot of us were a part of Soul. It was gospel. From there, I just kind of got started in the cover music scene.
Yeah.
And I was playing with Hit Explosion, which was one of the premier party bands here. And it was in that I discovered just recording and working with other artists, getting my feet wet as a recording artist. So,
what was the first song you recorded?
Oh my. I want to say it was Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Really? That's a hard cover.
It's a hard cover. I was 19 I went in at 15, I remember having to go in with a cousin who was a hip hop artist, and they needed me to cuss, and I was like, I don't know how to cuss, So, but 15 was probably the first time, not good, but 19 is where I was like, I'll take it serious.
Oh, wow. And Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that is Patti LaBelle's done that, Jennifer Hudson,
Yeah.
Judy Garland, which I think she do all right. I know she's
Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and throughout your journey in music, right, was it complicated, like being able to navigate everything? It's hard for us brothers and sisters out here, but navigating Why Black and being a woman in how complicated that scene is.
It is hard. It still is hard. It's when I began to branch out and put out my own music and really want to do the recording artist thing, sometimes you felt more resistance. And we know we put in a lot of work, and then you see those who emulate are the ones, sometimes that it feels a little easier for. Yeah. Not a big deal, we're resilient. So that's, do what you got to do,
Right. And we're going to talk about the first album and a little bit more, because I also want to know pandemic. Something is just telling me to ask you a little bit more about the pandemic and how that did for you. But we're going to get to that and unpack that. I'm here with Tiffany Wilson, and you're watching We Live in Color.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Get ready for an unforgettable conversation. Join beloved talk show TV star Sherri Shepherd for a special episode of The Day with Trey. Sherri opens up about her incredible career, the joys of motherhood, and the importance of staying true to yourself. Make sure and tune into this very special episode of The Day with Trey on August 8th at 8:30 p.m. across all Converge media platforms or at whereweconverge.com.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
Disenrollment is a situation whereby people whose birthright to be indigenous is being stolen from them by politicians that have been elected to lead.
Today, the latest or last chapter of the saga concerned the threatened physical ejectment of as many as 21 Nooksack families from their homes.
I think it come about by hatred for our family. That's what it's all about.
Our bloodline is still here. They can't get rid of us.
And we're back where We Live in Color. I am here with the Emerald of Seattle, Tiffany Wilson. I'm going to give you different intros every time we come in. So, coming in, first album, what was that process like for you?
It wasn't really a process. I moved to LA in 2003. I was there until 2008. And while there, it's a lot different. You meet people constantly who are producers, songwriters, just people who have transplanted there, some are from there, and there's a community of being able to pop into studios, to find people who are like, yeah, come sit in my spot and work nonstop. And I had the privilege of having a spot like that. It was called Ironworks. The gentleman who ran that was Joseph Lineberg, and incredible guy, and he would just let me sit in the studio, and we would collaborate a lot of times. Through him, I worked with Nate Dogg, and I just met so many incredible people. George Clinton.
Late Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
How was that process?
So incredible. Nate, that was such a funny time. Joseph called me and said, yo, Nate's coming to the studio tonight. Maybe you can come and write. And I said, okay, cool. So I came down to write, and I had a pen and notepad in my hand, and they were playing the beat, and Nate looked at me and said, what you doing with that? We don't need no writers. And I was like, oh, shit, well, let me put the thing down. Mm-hmm. And just in listening, I think I must have hummed something or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he looked over, and then he handed me back my pen and notebook.
Oh, wow.
And so we wrote a couple of songs together that never came out, but it wasn't even about them coming out. I learned a lot working with Nate, and our styles are very similar in some sense, at that time anyways. Just a great guy. Just a real person, and that's kind of what you realize in LA, even though they are on the screen. These are just sometimes just normal people, and he was a beautiful person.
And what made you move back home?
I'm an auntie, and I love children. My sister was having her third child. My middle nephew didn't know me as well. My oldest did. And I didn't want to miss any more of that family for LA. LA was very, superficial and plastic at times, full of compromise, things I wasn't really there to do and wasn't going to do. And so I wasn't going to keep sacrificing like family for California. It's probably changed now. People have probably said, I don't know how much it's changed. I don't really go too much, but I wasn't going to miss any more of my family.
That is beautiful.
For LA. Thank you.
Like prioritizing family above that, right?
You have to. Whatever it is that's important to you, you have to prioritize it, because other people will cause you to sacrifice some of those things, Other entities, other businesses will have you sacrificing the most important things and parts of you.
And choosing the you and choosing the us, right? Sometimes, I think that is beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And, and having to navigate that as an artist, fast forwarding up until the pandemic, as an artist.
That was hard.
How did you handle that?
That became a time where people did not have freedom of choice. And you hadn't experienced that, especially in our day and age. It was all about the choices we were able to make. And for a time, our choices were taken away, or we were demonized for our choices. And I actually lost a lot of work. I lost friends. It was great in the respect that it showed you who you had. It was hurtful in the respect that it showed you who you had. And so I lost work. I would get gigs and then say certain things and lose the gig and all kinds of stuff. People that you respected, you called friends, were now talking, crazy to you a little bit. And it was like, are you serious? So it did. It showed you who you had, and then it also showed you who you were made of, what you could do. So I had to switch lanes. At our home, we built a space where we could have people come out and do live recordings at the home. I could do all internet stuff. I did some work with Intimon, and they allowed me to film from home, and a couple festivals, music festivals, filming from home. So it showed me who I was in the regard that I could strip it down. I could work well with just a guitar player or a three-piece. I had to redefine myself.
My favorite, and I actually specifically about the pandemic for a reason. I was going through it, like it was really hard for me. But I remember playing your rendition of I Am in Love. And I played it.
Gosh, with me and Jimmy James.
And I played it every day. It is like my favorite, it's my favorite Aretha Franklin song. First of all, I did not even listen to Aretha Franklin's version until I heard yours. Now Let Me In Your Life is my favorite Aretha album.
Wow.
But I'm just super grateful because music really helped get me through the toughest time. And, I was in love at that time, but it was also very much hopeful, right? It just gave me hope. So I just want to thank you for that moment. That's why I had to ask you about the pandemic. And I think that, what you were saying, what you were doing during the pandemic really kind of set the tone because you were creating space for other creatives to think of different ways to be creative.
Ooh, you know who I thank for that? Wanawari.
Wow.
The day they announced, we might need to store up some water and get some rice, I had a living room show at Wanawari, which we didn't see that. We weren't planning for a pandemic, literally. I think she had booked me out, her and Soma, maybe a couple of months, a month and a half or so prior. We had plenty of notice, I can say. And then it was like, we're gonna have to do something. It's a living room show, so I was already, for the first time, kind of stripping it down. I had done acoustic with Michael Wassman, but never for myself.
Yeah.
And so it was in doing that Wanawari show that I realized, oh, I love a stripped down vibe. I like, some bongos and just a guitar player.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit like the same day, and I was like, okay, this is how it's going to have to be.
Yeah, and
I love it.
And it is because you can do it in a small space, but you can do it in a big space. You just finished
Teatro Zanzani.
I know. I was saying tequilos, but I was thinking about tequila, but that's
next. Yeah.
But tell us about like going through that journey.
Teatro was incredible. I remember years of like driving down the freeway, seeing this Teatro Zanzani on the buses, and over by my wife today said, "Don't be saying Sorry, y'all. But over by Seattle Center, Teatro, where it normally was, or where it started with the tent, and just thinking how that's dope. That's here, but I never went. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that any of my friends were saying, let's go check it out. When I got the call, it was a gentleman, Stone Gossard, reached out to me and said, hey, my friend is wondering, they're looking for a male singer. Would you be interested in doing something like this? And I was like, yes, I would. And I loved it. It's I think every artist that has poured into their artistry and worked hard here should experience something like that. And not the actual gig itself, but the treatment.
Yeah.
I felt I was held in such high regard as an artist. Wow. I was Madam Zanzani, so walking throughout the space, there was, hi, Madam. It's just a different vibe, and it was easy in the sense that I got to show up and just be me, in the sense of just a singer, just a songwriter, just an artist on that front, and not the band leader, and not the booking agent, not the curator. I got to just show up, sing my heart out, and go home every day for 6 months. And
I've seen clips of it, and it just looked amazing.
It's incredible. I miss it.
It looked amazing. And but you were doing two things at once, because, can you talk to community about Seraphim?
Seraphim, there are certain things, I got a call about that too. Can you curate something? And I've seen it in other places, so I'm not saying I'm the full innovator, but just the ability to have a solid unit behind you. I saw that in California, I saw it in DC, I saw it in New York, where there was just a house band, and it allowed for whoever got up on the stage to have adequate support. A lot of times Seattle has a lot of jam sessions, not knocking jams, because I jam.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't want the band to swap out. You want to play, I want to play with who that person just played with.
Yeah.
And so we give you that. We give you a solid unit of really talented, stellar musicians, and to the point where if they have to listen for a split second to learn whatever song it is you're bringing to the stage, they do it. And they do their very best to play whatever anyone wants to sing. We rarely say no.
Yeah, but I think it's just something of the seed that you planted, right? With the artist in the band that is there. Mm-hmm. Because we see those group of folks at different events throughout the year, curating their own events. And I think that you planted a seed within them that has helped them grow to then want to pour into other people, which helps them pour into other people. And it's the Seattle that I remember.
Yay, good. Can we get back? Because I loved, when I was in my mid-30s and early 20s, our greats were Josephine Howland, Phyllis Talley, and so many. I would love to be, I just remember sitting there with my mouth dropped open, Latoya Williams. There were some artists out here that were incredible to me, and that made me feel like, you can do it, Tiffany. Yeah. And so I just want everyone to always know that there is plenty of space and plenty of room, and we work and we'll go further together than we will separate, driving multiple ships.
Right, and we sure shall.
Yeah.
I got more with Tiffany Wilson and We Live in Color tributes. You are watching We Live in Color.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Hey everybody, this is DJ OG1, co-founder of Portland's Hip Hop Week celebration, August 20th through the 26th. An entire week of celebrating the culture. And we have a special event called Hip Hop Wine and Chill, where we'll be celebrating and honoring Seattle's own Converge Media, Beza Gordon, and Amari Salisbury. Portland Hip Hop Week, August 20th through the 26th. For more information, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
Africa Town Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africa Town Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africa Town Plaza is a love letter to the community.
On my mind a lot, don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, miss you every day. You seem like the barging down, got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch, might wake the neighbors up, but you didn't break you out. In the end, we gon' make a child. Then we gon' hit the show. Part 2, we don't need no pause. You can't miss me, we gon' get cookies, you don't need a power spot.
Copy my steel, face the fact that, copy my steel, face the fact that.
And we're back with Miss Tiffany Wilson, the Emerald Queen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we were talking about Seraphine and just the work of artists in this community. And you talked a little bit about Josephine Howe, who is, and people like Ernestine Anderson.
Yes.
And how does it feel to know that you are one of those people? That you are also a part of that community compass.
I am. Singers. That's blissful, man. That's really, you don't think about it. Honestly, I did not, when I started doing music, did I think about really who I would be to anyone else outside of me and the creator, you know? So to know that people watch or pay attention and value and have regard for what I do, because they don't have to. Everyone, you know, we have free will and choices. I'm appreciative. I had no idea that. Sometimes you don't feel like people paying attention. You know what I'm saying? They are, but you don't know because the ticket sales aren't always.
But that's real, right? But what are some of the if you had to give an artist 3 pieces of advice, right, for them to take and keep with them? What would it be?
Work hard.
Okay.
Can I explain too? It's very easy. Sometimes the consumer is the consumer. You know what I'm saying? They love music, period. And sometimes you can become complacent. And I would always say, keep reinventing yourself. There's tons of layers to you. Find your lane. You don't have to stay in it. The industry tells you, you know, oh, you can only sing country, you can only sing this. And we see Beyonce, she's saying, I'm gonna sing country, I'm gonna sing pop, I'm gonna do blues, I'm gonna do jazz. Whatever she chooses, and you are the same way. You are an artist, and do whatever you want. The public is going to love who they love.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. So be the artist. I think it makes the world go around. That's 1. 2, don't give up. Age is not a factor. Period. And 3, don't give a damn what they say as long as they talk about it.
Okay, I know that.
You can be the alchemist.
Universal.
Yeah, you can be the alchemist.
I love that because, I mean, even all that you just said falls not just under being an artist, just living this life.
Yeah.
I love that. And, you know, here at Converge, for this show, we live in color tribute. Who is one person that has helped you live in color?
That's one.
Could be more than one.
I'm gonna have to say It's tough. My mom and my sister have probably been my biggest, because they see every side of the heartache, the joys, and so my sister always tells me, keep leaping. Keep leaping. And she's a really great example of continuing to leap. My mom has always been a leaper, always entrepreneur, not afraid to start new things, build, grow. And so those are the people who have told me, you're doing great, keep it up, don't stop. I mean, I hear it, but that, when you hear it from mom and sister, sometimes it doesn't matter what anyone else is saying. So my mom and my sister, it was just us three for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. And that's who really keeps me going when it's hard to keep going. And then I got my niece and nephews. They,
and them too.
And my wife, and not the, but
you can name all of them. It's okay.
All of them, they be keeping me going because,
I love it because, it kind of circles back to what you were saying before about prioritizing the us.
Yes.
It's so important in this community, And speaking of supporting community, we do a call to action.
Call to action.
So what I need for you to do, Tiff, if you could look in that camera and give community your call to action.
My call to action would be to love you relentlessly. Figure out what that looks like. If it's at 8 o'clock, I don't eat no more. At 5 o'clock, my phone turns off. Whatever you need to do to, prioritize you, because you want to be able to be your very best for the absolute longest you can. And there's sometimes feels there's more against us than for us. But when you can look in the mirror and love everything about yourself, you're winning, So that's it. Love you. And you don't have nothing to give if you don't have it for self.
And just in case, because we want to make sure that you are booked and busy, where can people find you?
I'm so horrible about saying where you can find me. TiffanyWilsonMusic.com is where you can find me there. Instagram at Tiffany Wilson Music, same with Facebook. And
you're here.
And right here. Converge being good to me.
Right. And we love you here. And thank you so much for coming
for having me
here. When I say, it's so great to grow up off of you. And then 20 years later,
you are just 8. No, just kidding. I'm still only 20.
We the same age. And then to know, that I listened to you in Chocolate. I say y'all both because I just remember just what y'all did to my spirit then. And then during the pandemic, to listen to you when I was trying to find the joy when I didn't have it. And then watch what you've done to my friends, for my friends, and create space. Tiffany, you are helping community live in color.
Thank you so much.
You've been doing it for all Black folks. And I appreciate you. Anything we can do to support, please let us know. Thank you so much.
Well, can I mention one thing?
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt line I started.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wearing it right now, and it's for the copper complected people, and it's Ye Are Gods. And so it's called Copper Queen Collective. It is for any and everyone, but it's definitely affirming to those of brown skin and copper.
And where can people find that?
CopperQueenCollective.com. There's a few different ones for the whole family, and the premium quality is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it.
I need one of them premium quality.
I know, I should have brought one. I don't be thinking. I'm really bad.
You're going to come back here.
I am, just to deliver it.
Thank you so much for coming, Tiffany. And above all else, thank you all for being here. Join us next week with our next guest as we live in color. Remember to walk with love. Have a great night. Hey everybody, Deaunte Damper. To learn more about our blog posts, community events, and more, go to whereweconverge.com.